What's up, everybody? Tony here. Hope you're doing well. I got another video for you guys today addressing a commonly asked question. And this question has been asked on a lot of the media networks and TV shows and financial TV shows and financial analysts, even by the common folk who are interested in investing in Bitcoin and those who are learning about Bitcoin. So expect this question to keep coming up as well as the price of Bitcoin continues to increase and grow. As you guys know, that this year, really the year of Bitcoin. So far, it could, maybe next year could also be considered the year of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin also really took off this year, and we're approaching $9,000. Bitcoin crossed over 8,700 today. So we're approaching 9,000, and folks expect it to hit 10,000 by the end of the year, maybe around mid-December. So really growing exponentially. And I want to talk about 5 reasons why I think that Bitcoin is not a bubble. And let's jump into that. So first, I want to highlight that Bitcoin is not a fiat currency, but all of us have been trained mentally and from a social standpoint to think of currency obviously as paper money that's being printed and so forth, tangible, right? Something tangible. But Bitcoin is a digital currency, and people want to compare it, Bitcoin to fiat currency, but there's really not a comparison. It's very different, and it costs over $1,000 to create one Bitcoin in electricity and computing costs. So it's not just like the Fed printing out money, maybe it costs them a couple cents or whatever to create a dollar bill. It costs over $1,000, as some of you may know, and who may have attempted to mine Bitcoin, and how much the hardware costs now to purchase that and get that running, and the electricity costs and the time. So there's a lot of effort and work that has to go into generating a Bitcoin, and many people don't understand the fundamental technology of blockchain, which Bitcoin runs on. So they don't have this knowledge or this information. They just think, oh, there's a magical internet money, and how is it like US dollars? But they don't understand how Bitcoin is generated, the costs associated with it, the whole process, and the technology it runs on. And number 2, the value of Bitcoin is linked to the number of users and the number of transactions. So as the number of users and transactions grow, the more valuable Bitcoin becomes. It's not a speculative investment, even though it's being used like that by some folks, and the whales and a lot of hedge funds are going to come into Bitcoin Wall Street soon. But as the Bitcoin network grows, the value of Bitcoin grows as well. And as people start using Bitcoin for payment and receipts, they stop using US dollars and euros and the yen and so forth, which in the long run, it's going to devalue those currencies. So let's say I have 100 Bitcoin, just as an example, and there's companies out there that are accepting Bitcoin, like Expedia, Overstock. So let's say I wanted to book a trip with a hotel, and I go to Expedia.com, I could use Bitcoin instead of fiat currency. And likewise, I can go to Overstock.com and buy, whatever it is, furniture, electronics, and so forth. Excuse me. So if the majority of people stop using U.S. dollars, the value is going to go down. It's going to get devalued. So what we're seeing at the beginning stages is not so much a Bitcoin bubble, but rather the devaluation of currency, a fiat currency. And this is not happening just in the US, it's happening across globally, right? Japan is huge in adoption of Bitcoin. We've seen the Koreans, right, putting a lot of money into it. So there's a lot going on. Obviously, China and Russia are trying to ban this because, those are not the world leaders in freedom and so forth. So, but that's what's happening. The devaluation of currency, not so much a bubble in Bitcoin, meaning that there's more people using Bitcoin, there's more transactions happening, and the value is going up. And because there are people using it and more transactions, big money is coming along and they're trying to speculate on it. And that in itself is also driving a bit of the value. But the core foundation of where the value is coming from is the number of users and the transactions and the network growing of those folks using it. So as mentioned, as more people use Bitcoin, it has more intrinsic value. The cost of creating a Bitcoin also increases with the value of Bitcoin. So let's say Bitcoin goes to $10,000, it's not going to cost the same to create a Bitcoin as it did when it was 5,000 or 1,000. So it's not like there's fake money or random money being pulled out of the air, but we're just making up something, right? Hitting a button and a Bitcoin generated. No, it's very different. Another important point, number 4, there will only be 21 million Bitcoin ever. There is a hard limit. So it's not like Fiat where you can keep printing and printing and printing and printing, right? There's going to be a cap, and that in itself gives it a rarity similar to gold, right? Where there's not an unlimited amount of Bitcoin, or similar to, it's not an unlimited amount of gold. So that also gives it its value. And the 5th reason is people have already started using Bitcoin for major purchases. So we're not talking about buying a pizza or something like that. We're talking about people purchasing homes and cars and electronics and travel. As I mentioned with Expedia, you can go on Expedia right now and book a flight or a hotel, whatever it is, with Bitcoin. And you can also buy stuff on overstock.com. I have a list of the companies on my website, thinkingcrypto.com. Expedia, Overstock, Microsoft, Namecheap, Cheap Air, Newegg, Subway. A lot of sites companies are starting to accept Bitcoin as a payment. So really, if you think about it, you could possibly live off of crypto if you knew which companies accepted the crypto and you had enough. So let's say you had a lot of Bitcoin. You could book a lot of your travel with that instead of selling your Bitcoin for USD cash, and then you'd have to pay taxes and then book your flight, buy your meals, whatever it is, buy your new flat screen TV, whatever it is, right? You could technically use Bitcoin and really avoid taxes. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying hypothetically, and that. Right away, we're seeing people using Bitcoin for services and, like I said, a lot of tangible things and big purchases. So I wanted to give you guys an example, and there's a lot of examples now being reported by the media. The first I wanted to show is that New York City's preschool is accepting Bitcoin for like enrollment for obviously for you're paying, if you're a parent, you pay the school for their services and a fee for obviously being at the school.
I'm here with Marco Sioka, the co-founder and chairman of the Montessori Schools in Flatiron, Soho, and also the head of my daughter's school. Do you accept Bitcoin?
We do. We do. As of this past summer, we made the decision to accept, at the moment, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
And how did you make that decision?
I'd been sort of following the space for a few years.
So there you have it. This preschool accepts Bitcoin and Ethereum as payments. So that's pretty big if you think about it. And in New York City, where you have these schools which are high end, they cost a lot of money to send your kids to, and they're like private schools, obviously, and you can pay with crypto. And here's another example of a really $8 million mansion, which you can purchase with Bitcoin. This was reported on CNN. Let's take a quick look.
Oversized lots, which equals just over an acre of property. They're all golf course frontage. The listing price for this home is $7,850,000, approximately 16,000 Bitcoins.
Bitcoin is a virtual currency. It's not the first of its kind, probably not the last of its kind. I've never done any transactions relating to the the sale of goods and services in Bitcoin. But I thought that this would be an elegant opportunity to enhance the image of the transaction and the universe of potential buyers.
So there you have it, right? There's people selling their homes for Bitcoin. You could buy a home for Bitcoin. I've even seen videos and news reports of people buying cars, Lamborghinis, and so forth. There's a lot of content out there showing examples of people transacting with Bitcoin for large purchases. So that's my 5 reasons, right? Talking about people not fully educated about Bitcoin, what it takes to create a Bitcoin, and how the blockchain technology works, and they're kind of making a mistake of comparing it to fiat currency. Second, the value of Bitcoin obviously linked to the number of users and the number of transactions. And as the network grows, the value of Bitcoin grows, and it's more of the devaluation of currency versus a Bitcoin bubble. And as mentioned, number 3, the cost for developing a Bitcoin increases as the value of Bitcoin increases. And there will only be, number 4, there will only be 21 million Bitcoins ever. So there is a hard stop, a hard limit, and that gives it a lot of value because it's not just something printed like the Federals are printing money over and over and over. And number 5, people are actually using it for large purchases. So there's that in itself also gives Bitcoin value. So I hope this helps shed some light on, and this is just my opinion, why I think Bitcoin is not in a bubble. And for me, the idea of currency is that people trust it, because really, if you think about it, fiat currency, that piece of paper really has no value. It's because we put trust in it and we believe in the government and the system that's set up, right? Because there's no fiat. The dollar bill is no longer backed by gold. So now that people are using Bitcoin, they trust it, and it actually costs a significant amount of money to create a Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin is not in a bubble, and it's going to continue to rise and get more adoption. Now, is Bitcoin going to be the main cryptocurrency or the end-all be-all cryptocurrency in the future for transactions? I'm not sure. It could be another one, but I think this Bitcoin is represents what we're moving to, and the future of currency and how we transact with interact and transact with each other. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you guys think Bitcoin's in a bubble? Do you agree with my reasons? What are your thoughts? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, please thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos on Bitcoin and blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Talk to you guys later.